Okay, checking sound, checking everything. Let's see if we got video. Especially, well, video in YouTube seems going right. Let me check video on X. We are going live through YouTube and X right now. I just need to check if yes, we are live. Waiting for the live feed so we can have all right. Says this broadcast is not available. Why? Okay, I'm going to give you formally welcome to and welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and we are back on another live stream since, well, forever. I don't know when was the last time I hosted a live stream with the body language guy, but here we are. We will be talking about a bit of how crazy things have been going on with U.S. politics, and waiting like in 50 minutes. In 50 minutes, no, it doesn't start for another hour. We will have a bit of review of what had been going on. I think we have good audio. Reading your comments, and thank you for being here. Again, have been live in the body language guy since forever. For some reason, Twitter or X will not give me access. How can I test this? Why are you doing this to me? Let's see. Got my Ecamm live program. Let me check. I'm still checking things around here. Let me leave you. Let me see how this works. Okay, I think this works. We had Obama doesn't believe Kamala Harris can beat Trump, which is why he hasn't endorsed her sources. Let's see if I can check here that everything. We have our screen with the remarks. It's gonna start in 52 minutes. 52 minutes. We have plenty of time of catching up with everything that has been going on in the last 10 days, which has been quite crazy. And you might have noticed that this is not the usual fare or topics of my channel. Let me see them. I'm gonna try something crazy here to see my own stream on X. Okay, it's running. It seems that it is working on X, so we are officially live on X. We are live on YouTube and live on X as well. And we could be talking about US politics for a while. Again, you see me turning and checking things in both of my screen. I just want to make sure that everything is working nice and sweet. We got my headshot, and chat. I see your chat as well. I'm gonna be answering your comments and highlighting your comments. You got new nice comments. I will be highlighting them as well. And we also have a nice recap here of everything that has been going on. How can I make this bigger? Nice, much better that way. A lot has been going on. X functioning nice. If you're in YouTube, you should be having closed captions. I don't know if in X you got live closed captions, but here we are. So this afternoon has been really hard, complicated, let's say that crazy. And Washington DC, we have all sorts. Let me see if we can focus on that. I'm going to try to look for it first on my other screen. And this is something that I wanted to highlight, by the way. Something that I wanted to highlight. This is not the America that I know. Can anyone tell me how is this allowed to happen? This is happening on Washington, D.C. right now because of Benjamin Netanyahu visit, and it's just crazy. I found out, I was 2 years old when I found out. Let me make me bigger. Oh, I can make myself bigger here. Nice, nice. I was 2 years old, but I found out that you can actually burn the American flag and the United States, and you have this crazy resolution from 1990 that it is classified as freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. I don't know how that works. I remember in Venezuela, here I have a facts and case summary, Texas versus Johnson. Flag burning constitutes symbolic speech that is protected by the First Amendment. I think that is from 1989. I think that is crazy. I think that is something that should not happen. That is a national symbol. You should not desecrate that. It should be punished. Call me a fascist. Yes, okay, First Amendment. I understand. I totally understand that. I would like to respect the laws, but something that it's like just common sense, right? You know that there are such things as hate crimes. You know that if you try to burn certain flags, you know the flags that I'm talking about. I'm sure that you know what flags I'm talking about. You get charged with hate crimes and you land in jail. So my question is, I have a genuine question to ask here. Isn't this a hate crime? Because this would be like, I hate Americans. I hate America and Americans. That should be a hate crime as well. But I remember in Venezuela, I had this upbringing just before all the Chavez stuff and all the Chavismo and all that. We grew up we had to actually respect our national symbols. And I know that you respect your national symbols, but how do you allow this? How do I allow this? All right, freedom, ultimate freedom. But I don't know. It is painful to see. It is painful to see because, well, in many ways, any flag is beautiful. The United States America's flag it's beautiful. It's a beautiful symbol, of course, of nationalism and patriotism and everything. And seeing it being burned is just crazy, just insane. Haven't you heard Animal Farm? Oh my God, Brand! I knew that this chat was going to be hot, but I did not expect this hot. We could be beginning to say so many things here. Let's make a quick recap. I'm gonna make a quick recap of events, what has led us to this moment in time, which has been quite crazy. I think hands down, what happened. How this happened, how this really happened, on when did this start? It really started on the debate. I couldn't believe it when they said they were going to organize an actual debate between Trump and Biden. I said, well, this is going to be interesting. What can I tell you? I'm going to go with zero expectations. And it is always the question that I ask myself, was this organized so they could make Biden look bad? I think that is too cruel in many ways. I mean, I'm no Biden fan. But still, there are better ways to go, no? And the other option is that they actually believed that Biden could do well after, well, that it is hard to understand what he said. I was relieved in many ways that night because I thought, oh my God, my English is failing me because I don't understand what he's saying. Well, I saw that many English speaking people. Oh my God, wait a second. I have an emergency here. Something, things that happened. All right. Things that happen. All right. With live streams, crazy things happen. I have to keep an eye on my sound levels, which is the classic mistake that I began talking. And I spent 2 minutes giving you insights or speaking my mind. And what I see, sound. We don't have sound. And well, a lot of things happening nice here. So, well, that is my question. Was this planned from the start? Or they really thought that Biden could pull it off? And it was just so bizarre. The night of July 13th, I remember that I went to sleep, and I don't know, maybe this is just a coincidence, but I went to sleep. Like 1 hour, something very weird. That you go to sleep and you fall asleep, and it's like you don't wake up until 3 or 4 hours later when you have this not so deep sleep. And for some reason, I woke up like 40 or 50 minutes into my sleep. Like something told me, like, wake up and check the news. I don't know how that works. That there are forces that, well, are at play. And I just find out that this had happened. And I said, what is this? What kind of crazy stuff is happening in the United States? How is this possible? And well, that's so many things. And then first we have Biden's last day campaigning, July 16th. It was 3 days later. He was pretty much okay. He looked pretty much okay. Everything was fine. And then he had a diagnosis of COVID. According to sources, right? That's what we have to believe. We have to trust the official narrative to some extent. That I try to how to say this. That my job analyzing body language sometimes is a bit uncomfortable because it's like I don't only analyze body language, but analyze when something doesn't make sense. As I noticed that my analysis of Kimberly Chittle, the director or ex-director of the Secret Service, her resign from her job as Secret Service director. You really like that. It's because I try to put everything into place. It's of course, I know that many of you are not going to watch the entire 6 hours of hearing of Kimberly Chittle. Who has time for that? You begin to see highlights, see the best highlights. Nowadays we have ways of processing the content of a video faster. I have this, there's this experimental AI called Cubby. I don't know if some of you use it already. I got an invitation. Really nice to be able to process videos. But then it's when you put all those signs and all that stuff together, especially the fact, for me, the worst part of that hearing was realizing that 9 days after the assassination attempt, Chittle still did not have a concrete timeline of events, as in exactly at what moment did you realize that there was a threat. And that was fundamental. What was the exact minute? And that's when we found out that the Secret Service do not record their communications, their internal communications. How does that work? I don't buy it. My question would be, you never record your internal communications? You never do that? Or you did record your communications, or you do record your communications in general and did not record that day, or you deleted those communications? There's so many implications. For me, it's absurd, because recording your communications is like the black box of a plane. If something goes wrong with a plane, the black box would tell you what went wrong. You have a log of everything that happened. If you record your communications, then you know what happens at each second, the moment, and that way you can really know what happened in each order and know who was responsible of everything. Not having a log, not having recorded communications, how can you trust a system like that? Forget the jokes about DEI hiring and all of that. Forget the jokes about what is the name of these actors? All the jokes that we made that day. It's such an event. When we find out that 9 days later, we have more questions than answers, and something is really rotten in here. It's something that we have tried to be patient with this, try to make sense of this. And I was watching the FBI director, which is also like 6 hours. And it's the same. You have questions about, such as, I'm going to look for, there's another question that was asked. I'm going to look for it because I replied to it on my, there's something about Kamala that I want to say. I wanted to make a video about Kamala. Okay, we have this question, for example. Did Crooks fire 8 shots? I'm gonna share with you this on screen. It's much better if you look at it yourself. It was shared by Viva Frey. Did Crooks fire 8 shots? And Ray says, we have recovered 8 cartridges on the roof. Yes, it's an evasive answer. He talks about the cartridges, but doesn't address the fact that did he fire all 8 shots? And this is very easy to prove because you run a ballistics test. You remember that this is so easy to prove or not. If there was one or various shooters, because everyone heard 8 shots until the 9th shot. The 9th shot was the counter sniper of the Secret Service who took out Thomas Crooks. But it's easy if you have the 8 cartridges, or if you it's the bullets that you have. It's the bullets that you need, right? I remember that you need to recover all bullets to be able to run the ballistics tests to see if they were all shot by the same weapon. All of this very, very suspicious. There's another thing. There's this thing that I was showing you. Obama doesn't believe Kamala Harris can beat Trump, which is why he hasn't endorsed her. I'm going to tell you something about Kamala Harris. I'm gonna tell you something about Kamala Harris. I'm going to like make the video that I was going to make later. Like talk about that right now. I see all these remarks about Kamala Harris. I see this jokes about her past, about if I will try to be as polite as possible here. Who she slept with, what did she smoke, worse yet, if she is drunk during speeches. I'm going to tell you what something that you need to understand. I really certainly hope that my body language bodies are both Republican and Democrat. I really want to make videos for both of you. You need to like understand, I want to be clear about that I define myself center right. Okay? That is a given. That's something that you have already, you know, if you have watched my videos, you already know that. And I try to be as unbiased as possible. You know that I make jokes all the time and write satire and can be a little edgy at times, but I define myself center right. Even so, I'm willing to listen to every idea as long as it is common sense and has some sense of morality and principles. That's okay. There are points of view of the left which I agree on, but I'm not going to discuss that right now. I'm going to talk about Kamala Harris. I'm going to speak from my experience as a Venezuelan who, back in the late 90s, I remember the exact, I don't remember the exact year. It must have been 1996 or 1997. And I was studying design at that moment. I know that I was working on a piece, and that afternoon I was listening to the radio. I listened to the radio a lot. And then we're talking about Hugo Chavez. And they said that they had interviewed Hugo Chavez and that he wanted to be president of Venezuela. And I remember that I had nothing to do with politics, like zero. I had zero knowledge of politics, zero involvement of politics, nothing, nada. And I remember that I laughed. Like, I thought it was the greatest joke ever told. I laughed. What? What? Hugo Chavez, president? No, that you must be joking. Well, 2 or 3 years later, no, I was not joking anymore. And no, I want to my fellow Venezuelans, I want to make it clear, I never voted for Chavez. I have that clear conscience, so to speak. What I haven't been able to overcome is the fact that I did not vote for the other guy in 1999. Big mistake. I abstained from voting. I have never forgiven myself that. I know one vote could make a difference. But things that happened. I'm telling you, I was not involved in politics. But I see that many of the attacks that Republicans, and especially online, are like applying on Kamala Harris, this is going to backfire. That is going to backfire. I'm going to tell you why. Because that is the exact same strategy that Hugo Chavez used in many ways from 1999, when he won that first elections, up till now with Maduro. And what am I talking about? It's a very bad idea. It's an extremely bad idea. I'm telling you. This works for both sides, okay? If you're a Democrat, if you want to have this ad hominem attacks to Trump, you have the right to do so. You have free speech, okay? That's how free speech works in the United States. But the problem is that ad hominem attacks, if you say, oh, she's a drunk, which I certainly don't know how can people prove that. How can you prove that Kamala Harris was inebriated at some point or another? I don't know. Oh, you have second-hand recollections of, I don't know. But that only harms your argument. That will only make you look petty. That is the problem. And those ad hominem attacks only makes her fans say, okay, she's being attacked personally. In fact, there's this strategy on politics, in politics warfare, in which I am not saying that Kamala Harris is doing that. I know for a fact that Hugo Chavez used it, is that actually let people attack you that way. And you say something outrageous and maybe Kamala laughs in a way that she looks odd or silly or whatever, and you begin focusing on that. I'm telling you because I'm seeing the exact same pattern on that I saw when we were trying to deal with Hugo Chavez, is that he did all sorts of crazy stuff, silly things, very populist. And at first I noticed that we attacked like the bullseye that he wanted us to attack. And that is a strategy. You put something out there that is silly. You put a rumor out there. Maybe you are a womanizer, or you are, I don't know, you like crack, I don't know. You are an alcoholic. You let one or two of those rumors go there, and your opponents will focus on that, instead of focusing on the actual policies, on what is really happening with the policies, right? It's like a bait. Bait is the word for that. It's something that is done all the time. And it's textbook the way that it was done with Hugo Chavez, and then Nicolas Maduro learned that exactly that way. Jesus, would you mind sharing any thoughts of Javier Milei and Argentina? Thanks for all you do for us. Bon Mood, thank you for your super chat. I have one, how to say that, heuristic. I can say that I don't trust any politician at all. I assume automatically that every politician is lying. That is my way of thinking, and it has never failed. Having said that, there comes a time when certain people don't come from politics itself, and maybe they have fresh ideas. It doesn't work all the time. It looks like Javier Milei's ideas are working, and that is great. But it's like some people were saying about what Donald Trump was talking about Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. Saying, why is he saying that Bukele is sending thugs and gang leaders to the United States? Why is he saying that? Maybe he's confusing things with Venezuela. And it is my understanding, by the way, that yes, it is. You have to do the math. I'm going to talk about Nicolas Maduro and Venezuela right now. You have to do the math. You have all these hyper dangerous criminals. You could have them in Tocorón or Tocuyito, one of the, maybe we like our jails, starting with Tocorón, Tocuyito, whatever. And what is cheaper for you? Feed these criminals for years, or give them a one-way ticket to the United States? It's cheaper. You put them on a plane and put them right next to the border. I don't know, but it is the way that it is. And what are you doing? You are getting rid of the criminals in your country. Crime and crime index in Venezuela has dropped dramatically, and now you have those gang members, like in New York City. It's something that is baffling, but it's happening. And it seems that the same is happening with El Salvador. So at first I thought, well, maybe Nayib Bukele is doing it right. Well, El Salvador, hands down, is safer. But what is the cost? Is that sustainable? Because the big war, the most important word is whatever policy that you are proposing sustainable over time. And that is the big problem when we have periods of 4, 5, 6 years of presidents seated on one thing. Maybe you want to do something, but the actual results are going to be seen in 10, 15 years. Maybe a monarchy works better that way. I don't know. It's like saying democracy. But we were talking about Javier Milei, so I would give Javier Milei the benefit of the doubt. All these numbers, he's doing good numbers. That is great. I like Javier Milei has you know that I have this penchant for freedom, right? So many of you that have watched my lives and I watch my ramblings and all this stuff. For me, freedom is very important, and Javier Milei, for him, freedom is very important as well. We think of this anarcho-capitalism and all this stuff, which can be triggering for some. I can understand. I try. I remember, I always give this example. I gave English classes on a faculty of political science. It was great because, well, I taught basic English, and I could learn a lot from my students. And some of you are watching me right now, and I'm really glad that I had that experience, because it was a nice exchange. And in my class, I had every single spectrum of left and right, from the rightist right to the leftist left. And one thing was for sure, that those classes were more like a discussion. And another thing is for sure, is totally different when you argue with someone on Twitter than when you argue with someone in person. And I made sure to try to listen to every single angle, every single opinion, have jokes about every single personality of Venezuelan politics, and it worked. And I was really pleased to feel that my really, really radical left students really liked my classes. It was something like, said, okay, it can be done. We can get to an agreement. We can get to something. We could build something if we just talk these things face to face. It could be done. I think it can be done in any country. I don't think it's something that just one side has all the answers. It never works like that. And the challenge of being center right or center left, whatever you define yourself, or maybe far right or far left, whatever floats your boat, is how you make things sustainable in the future, and how much you think about that future. I don't know. Biden will show at 10 p.m. But I understand that he's gonna be here. Let me see. It's 20 minutes. We have 20 minutes for Biden to start speaking. I see some many of you. Remember, thank you in advance. I thank you for keeping the comments respectful. Let me see that this button works still. Yes, we have that little counter right here. At like 19 minutes to start. So yes, I see many things, and I agree that the way, for example, Trump's camp, how to deal with a different opponent so close to the elections cannot be easy, because you have to change your strategy. It's something quite complicated. So many of you also say that Kamala is not going to be the actual nominee. It could be Michelle Obama. I don't know. I don't think so. So I would like to share with you more of that experience of in Venezuela, and why I had to leave the country. And I had to leave the country because I remember that I joined Twitter back then in 2009. 2009, Twitter was like a paradise. It was everything, I don't know, Care Bears and clouds and nice things and chocolates and cookies and everything. It was so nice. 2009, we were happy and we didn't know it. But then things began in political field a little, harder and harder, and especially in 2012. I had quite some influence in Venezuela, had quite a following. And of course, I began talking against the government, and I got in a bit of trouble, let's say. A couple of threats, things that I did not like. So eventually, then the next year, I had to delete all my social media. And the next year, Chavez dies. Everybody knows that that he died months before, but I don't want to give. As I'm telling you, that's why I'm trying to reopen my locals. Not trying. I will open my locals club so I can speak more freely there. Chavez died in 2013. Let's go with that one. Maduro, he just appoints Maduro. He is my successor. Is that way? This is like a monarchy. You're going to vote for Maduro, and that is another thing that I don't understand about the United States. Why do you vote on a Tuesday? And I understand that it's in the Constitution, right? Why don't you vote on a Sunday? And so many people have told me, well, people are religious. They go to church on Sunday. We are. You cannot be more religious than us Venezuelans. You cannot beat us at religion. That I assure you. And we vote on Sundays. We can do both things. We wake up early in the morning. We cast our vote and we go to church. It's that simple. It should be the norm, because how are you going to vote on a day that you have to go to work? Not gonna judge. And I'm just going to say something that is quite important. And 2 words: paper ballots. Paper ballots. That is the name of the game. I'm going to tell you. I remember remember one class on that political science class. that I was explaining. Some of you already know that I'm very curious and I'm trying to get involved in things. And I knew how the Smartmatic machines work. Smartmatic, the machines that we use to vote. I don't know from which year onwards. But I made a diagram of this is how easy it is to cheat on a digital election. And I remember, one student was really concerned, and he says, "You see how easy is this? That even our teacher knows how to cheat on elections." I was amused about his comment, but yes, it's something about you can do. Okay, we are about this changed. Next up, President Biden addresses the nation. I think should be, let me check in here one thing. Making sure, next up. Make sure that I don't have any tab with weird sound. Let me check the sound right now. Everything is going nice. We will begin shortly. Okay, 15 minutes. I'm gonna change back to my headshot. I have that screen right here, so we will not miss. As soon as it starts, I will be changing the screen. So, digital, I don't like any of that. Don't give me any machines. Give me an effing paper ballot that I can fill up. And something that we have as well is ID. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that in some states in the United States, you can vote without an ID. How does that work? I remember that the process in our earliest elections, you went to your election site, school. It was usually school. You were distributed by the ending number of your ID, and you were called. You usually waited like half an hour, and you were called to the voting hall. It was a classroom. It was a classroom from the school, and they checked your ID. Remember that they checked you on a long list which had your ID number, and next to your ID number was a spot for your fingerprint, and for you to sign. You have to put your fingerprint and sign this space. So the number for your ID was essentially blocked the moment that you voted, because before voting, you have to do this process. And then you waited like 10 minutes, and then you could cast your vote. And some point I remember that it was exclusively on paper, but you also have these machines in which you had an electronic machine that you push in and a screen, but you received a paper, and in the paper you had the name of the person that you voted for. It was essentially like the machine was filling it for you, and you could check it yourself. You folded it and put it in a box, and that was it. Why was this the best way to vote? Because at the end of the day, in that same classroom, you had there's like 4 or 5 people from each political party, checking that they were going through every single paper ballot and counting them for every person by hand. And then you wrote that down on an act, and that's what you sent to the central stuff. Very difficult to cheat, because in every step of the way, every step of the voting process, you had human eyes. If there was anything suspicious, no, it was going to be recorded in an act, in an actual book, and the book was going to be physical somewhere. If there was any doubt about the results of election, it was too close, you have actual books and you have the actual paper ballots. It was not destroyed until much later. That changed. I'm gonna reserve my opinion. I'm gonna get into trouble. You know that that kind of political police now is international. That's why I want to move to Mars. Are we heading towards a Blade Runner type society? Oh my God! Don't make me. I love those dystopian, Blade Runnery scenarios. They are quite depressing, by the way. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, it's like that. They have your name on the list. Come in, they cross out your name, you vote, you leave. All right, that could be. And then you have all this stuff of people who are no longer living that get to vote, because you can imagine that many people were registered on the voting registry, but many people maybe had moved or no longer lived in the country or had died, and there were still those numbers in there, and that's when the trouble began. So many. I would like to say this is something to give you like some optimism, which is so important at every step of the way. Before we begin, we still have this, we will begin shortly. It is live right now. It is running, but it's not doing anything. As long as it begins to do anything, I will change it. I know that watching the news can be upsetting, can give you anxiety, can be depressing. You have to disconnect every now and then. Maybe more frequently these days. I know it can be hard. I am the least person to give you this advice, because I'm basically like sleeping like 6 hours these days at most. There's so much that has happening. But I want to tell you this, so you try to put things in perspective, which is going to be useful for your life. I look back to that struggle in Venezuela. I look back at all the injustices. I look back at the wins and the losses. And in many ways I say, I would not change a thing. It is crazy. But it's like saying, I as an individual had the opportunity to grow through that. Was it fair? Maybe not. Maybe it was not fair because I had no idea what was going on most of the time, until I really began to educate myself, and thanks to my students in political science. But it's like I cherish all that experience that I got, and I would not change nor the wins, nor the losses, the struggles, nor the victories for anything, because in many ways that shaped me as a human being. And literally that has brought me here, not only in knowledge but in experience. And I I don't feel like I have the level that I would like to do this kind of things. For example, making commentary on actual politics. I think I can study much more of, well, especially international politics. Now that everything is global, but it's also that you have to do things before you are ready to do them. And this is what I'm telling you about the story that I lived and how it shaped me as a human being. It made me value things. And even when things don't go wrong, don't go as planned, it's like saying at some point I'm going to miss this moment. Even when things go wrong, even when things go bad, even when I mess up things, I say, I'm going to look back at this in 10 years, 20 years, and I'm going to laugh at this moment. And you know it's true. You know that so many that you have gone through, my dear viewer, my body language body who is on the other side of the camera, and you look back and say, well, that was a great lesson. And maybe it even it fills you up with emotion, with any kind of emotion. And the idea is that the times that we are going through today, we are going to feel the same in 10 years. And my question is, why can't we feel about them, about these situations like that right now? As in, I don't know how to say this. I remember that Nietzsche had this term of amor fati, in which you literally loved what happened to you. I'm not saying that you have to accept what happens to you. Well, you have to accept in one sense of the word, that you have to accept what happens, but you need to react. You have to do something about it. But maybe the amor fati thing is not complaining. And I know, because many of you also know my story. Not gonna bother with you. We have 3 minutes. We have barely 3 minutes to begin. And I've gone through some stuff in the last 4 years, especially in 2020. And it is not easy. And I understand. Okay, Jesus, maybe you are saying that, but look at you. You look so nice. We all have struggles of different kinds. But try to think about your struggles like you're watching back in time, like yourself 10 years in the future, looking back at that right now. How would you see it? How do you watch yourself what happened to you 10 years ago? You say, oh my God, I was so green. I was so naive. That is important. We're about to begin. Make sure to be kind to yourself. Do not judge yourself too harsh. I am the specialist on that topic. I am the one who judges myself worse than anyone else. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Okay, you made a mistake. Try to not make that same mistake again. That's it. It's that simple. You're allowed to make mistakes. That you have to do things before you're ready, and that is bound to result in mistakes. But those mistakes and your circumstances, everything at the same time, how you react to them, that's the way that's what makes us humans, and that's what makes life so wonderful. And that's why I tell you always, love and bliss. We need to love each other, and bliss is being able to enjoy the moment no matter what we are going through. Hard, but it's a muscle that we can exercise. We should be about to begin. It's like 1 minute. We're a minute in. Uh, so many questions here that I don't know how to. Mr. Body Language, can you explain how or why Harris was ushered into being the nominee without a vote? I have no idea. I have no idea. What I do know, which is maybe a semi-controversial opinion of mine, is that we are not supposed to be in this timeline. Remember that the timeline was forever changed at this point, okay? And once the timeline changed, everything changed. So we don't know at what point we are seeing improvisation. Okay. Right. Check in 1 minute in. We have sound, we have everything. We're already 1 minute late. Yeah, probably recorded, so it will be on time. I hope so. And I really, really appreciate you being here, my Body Language buddies. And for you who are new to this channel, maybe you are just landing here because you want to watch it live. I usually make body language analysis, statement analysis, physiognomy analysis, not much, but that is fun to do sometimes. I'm lately trying to explain what is going on with the world. So I've been switching a bit into more like a commentary channel and all this stuff to try to make sense. And it has been working well. After so many time, the channel a bit not active. It's on, okay? Where are you watching it? All right.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. We can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy? In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this, we are a great nation because we are good people. When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth, the sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause, cherish it so much, a cause of American democracy itself, must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period. I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence, our planet from climate crisis that is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. And I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war. We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in a century. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans, and we got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, the most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low. We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President, Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Is that reading your comments? My God. Oh my God, you read what? Oh my, your comments. What was the best? The best of the night, hands down. I couldn't. Oh my God, I don't have a napkin here. Your comments were, what is this? And this is all of one. Something that he was. What is this? What does he? First, he had like, I don't know, a tan. He had like a ton of bronzer, and he looked so weird. I'm going to wait for. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can go back, because I need to at least have a snapshot. We need a snapshot of Biden to study him. I'm going to do my magic here. I have certain magic here. I have stuff here. We can study Biden closer. You see, Mr. President, what are you hiding? First of all, the guy was really tanned. I mean, it's like that joke. Look at me. I'm the orange guy now. And of course, it's so it's so weird. A couple things. It's like he has a filter over his face. Like when you are doing a TikTok and you have this crazy beauty filters that like make your skin so perfect, tan without wrinkles. But it's like, I don't know, it's like ironing. COVID makes you tan, of course. Maybe the fever, right, that you suffer makes you tan. Maybe that could be. And the fact that it is so easy to have a camera with a teleprompter, right in front of the camera, so you can see into the camera. He addressing the nation and looking to one side. I don't know. It's a bit odd. And some of you already mentioned that he was not wearing his wedding ring. His left hand, the wedding ring of no rings whatsoever. What happened? Also, I don't know why they picked this tie that creates so much distortion. But what did he say? I will wait for a transcription or something, because again, he was just, it's like that letter signed by him, that letter sign in which Flatlander, I don't know, that lady deserves a prize. How do you sign language slur speech? I don't know. Maybe you leave your hands a bit limp to imply the slur speech. And he was just endorsing Kamala Harris and said that he should not be egoistical or something and whatnot. And he ultimately did not say why is he dropping out. If he did so many great things, as he claims, it was so wonderful. Wonderful. Teleprompter. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Imagine Biden, TikTok Biden. I mean, the guy looks fine, right? So I can just say this kind of things. I'm trying to still process what we just saw, because we listened to like 12 minutes, I don't know, full of nothingness, or 10 minutes at most, of Biden looking into the somewhere else. And let me see if I had another, I've had another angle to show you. Let me see, how can I zoom in? I have another here. So strange. I'm trying to make sense of it, but this is, I don't know, my body language bodies. I don't know. This deserves, of course, a second look. But he essentially said, I have done an excellent job, as Karine Jean-Pierre said. Well, he has done more in 4 years than every single president in the United States has done in 8 years, in 2 terms. But he shouldn't be so, he has done so well that he cannot be selfish. He should give the opportunity to Kamala Harris. and endorsing Kamala Harris. That's what we got from this bronzer Biden. That nice tanning bed, Mr. President. Nice tanning bed. So this is what we got. This is a green screen. And I have to thank you. I really couldn't contain my laughter. I had muted my mic. I had to mute my mic because I was reading your comments and I was just losing it. I was that kid that sat at the far end of the classroom. It usually didn't happen because I wanted to, because my last name starts on a letter that I was sitting at the far end in the classroom, cracking jokes, a bit mischievous. That this was exactly like in school. I want to read your super chats because so many super chats before we move on. And moving on means that we're gonna say goodbye soon because, well, this needs certain, I don't know, level of processing. Tonight, Charlotte Fassi, thank you for your super sticker. Thanks, Charlotte. Sarah D, thank you for all your hard work. It's all my pleasure, Sarah. Bon Mood, I already shared my thoughts about Javier Milei. I hope that Argentina, beautiful country. I hope that they surge and soar. Scotty C, super sticker, thank you. Hands doing a high five. Clark Cristo, thank you for the super sticker as well. Ruperto, este güey no sabe dónde está. I cannot disagree. He seemed lost. Where is his ring? Says Sandra Dieterman. At least he won't get lost trying to walk off stage. No, maybe Jill was right beside him to help. Interesting what Finn Contracting says. Apparently, this angle wasn't alternate. I saw another version where he was looking into the camera. That is odd because this is the White House channel. This was the White House channel. Well, that would be interesting. But nice for mentioning that, Finn. I will look for that, looking straight into the camera version. Sandra determined again, this was a campaign speech for Kamala, nothing more. What a joke. That's what we got. Something really weird and strange. But what hasn't been weird and strange these days with politics globally? This is what we got. I'm gonna feature a couple more of your comments, and then that's it for the night. Jill is going to say, good job, you read all of it correctly. Well, at some point, I am the president for the brothers. And I said, poor my AI generating the captions was, I'm tired, boss. This was 100% pre-recorded, Susan. This was 100% pre-recorded. Have no doubts about it. I would not be how to say this, that confident about the light outside and the stuff. Let's see, change here to my headshot. I want to check something. Because this perfectly could be just a studio. This could be, look at it, this is this very tight angle of it. This could be a studio that mimics the Oval Office, but it's not the real Oval Office. That is completely possible. Like the you can have just a fake window with a LED screen in the background and have as many takes as you want. Make it seem like it's Well, in fact, it looks like it was like, it doesn't look like, what does it look like? What time is it in Washington, D.C. right now? It didn't look like, yeah, it was pre-recorded because of the, yeah, they would have used like at night, right? What time is DC right now? It was 8 in the evening, so that doesn't look like 8 in the evening. So this was absolutely pre-recorded just for what we saw on the background. Oh my God, where are my comments? Where are your comments? All right, here they are. It would be darker. It would be darker. Now the question is, when, if this was pre-recorded, when was this recorded? For all that we know, this could have been like 1 week ago. This could have been on July 17. In the window, you can see text of Biden's speech. Oh, thank you. Let's do something. My body language buddy, some of you are on, well, like myself, and in an odd time in here, I'm going to check everything about this. Thank you for being here. I will give you a summary of my impressions on a 10 to 12 minute video, which is the format that I'm using. So great having you tonight and sharing my experience, my limited political experience as a Venezuelan and as a citizen of the world right now. And with all the crazy stuff going on, I'm sure that we will be having more live streams more frequently in the very near future. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and until we meet on another video or another live, remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.